Good morning, all. Today, I am going to discuss about theories of learning. So, so some theories are proposed by different persons for learning. So, under these, the first thing is classical conditioning theory. Okay. So, first theory is classical conditioning theory. So now we are discussing about this one. So the classical conditioning occurs when a conditioned stimulus is coupled with an unconditioned stimulus. So there are two types of conditioning stimuluses are there. So stimulus means what we are getting from the organs and sensory organs, that is called as a stimulus. So stimulus is coupled with an unconsidered unconditioned stimulus. Okay, conditioned stimulus is coupled with an unconditioned stimulus. So usually the conditioned stimulus is an impartial stimulus, like the sound of a tuning fork. The unconditioned stimulus is biologically effective, like the taste of food, and the unconditioned response to the unconditioned stimulus is an unlearned reflex response, like salivation or sweating. Okay, so we are clearly distinguish difference about conditioned stimulus and unconditioned stimulus. So conditioned stimulus is an impartial stimulus, like the sound of a tuning fork. That means suppose tuning fork means suppose you are taking two wires and you are tied with the two with some uh, point. So then you have to hold that two wires. Then there is no music. It is nothing but some musical instrument. So it has some two wires. Then you have to press it strongly. Then automatically the sound will be stopped. Okay. So and you have to release that, and you have to give the movements on the strings. Then automatically it gives some sound. So it is condition. It is a conditioned stimulus. Okay, suppose while you are playing, then only it will be respond. Okay, so then you feel it. Otherwise, it will be in idle position. Okay, so that is sound of tuning fork is nothing but impartial stimulus. So while they are playing by anyone, then ultimately it will give the same sound. Okay, so there is no difference at all. Okay, so that will be responded according to the player, those who are playing that instrument. Okay, suppose you take the guitar. So the guitar is for common instrument, so it is responding for everybody in the same time. While suppose what they are playing, what they are move, so according to that, suppose somebody is expert and somebody is not expert in that, so it is responding to according to the player's movement. Okay, so that is conditioned stimulus. Okay, so there is no change in the instrument, but only the playing, the style of playing is different. Okay, so the unconditioned stimulus is biologically effective, like the taste of food, and the unconditioned response to the unconditioned stimulus is an unlearned reflex. Okay, so suppose it is a biological effect. Okay, so that is the taste of the food. So that is in general you have to learn biologically effective. Okay, so you are not learning anything. Okay, so just you taste the food, then automatically your tongue recognizes the taste of the food. Suppose it is a suppose whether it is a heat food, then automatically your tongue will be recognize. So it will be heat. Then automatically cold food like this, and some sweets and hot something. So and spicy food. Then you are identifying all this with your tongue. So taste of the food. Okay, this is unconditioned response. So there is no conditions. Okay, suppose for eating something, then automatically your mind will be responded. Okay, so whether it is a sweet, whether it is a hot, so according to that your taste, then automatically suppose you are don't like so much of sweet, then automatically suppose the sweet is in a having some ice sweet, then automatically will be recognize that, then you have to reject it. So it is over sweet, then I am not interested to eat this one. So like this. So then unconditioned stimulus as some unlearned reflex response, like salivation or sweat. Okay, so salivation, that means saliva in our mouth, there is continuously saliva is generated, and also there is sweating. So these are all unconditioned things. Okay. So automatically they are happened. Okay. Suppose you went to some hot place, then automatically the sweating is coming. So without any your recognition. Okay. So you are not recognize anything. So you feel heat, but you are not recognizing. You are not considering that one. But the sweating is automatically coming. So this is unconditioned response. Okay, so you are learn. So suppose if you enter some heat place, then automatically you feel so there is a lot of sweating in that area. Suppose you went to some cool place, then automatically there is some chilledness and some uh, uh, coldness is there. Then automatically feels. Okay, so is nobody cannot learn. Nobody cannot teach all these things. Okay, so eating food. So from suppose from childhood you have to learn from your mother how to eat or something. So suppose there is sweating, so you are not trained, and also there is a saliva in your mouth. Then automatically it comes. Then no need of training. Okay, for all these things. Okay, suppose if you are walking, so first you have to learn from your childhood. Then automatically you will be walking. So these are all the unconditioned things. So after this coupling process is repeated, for example, some learning may already occur after a single coupling. Okay, so after this coupling process is repeated, suppose we are coupling conditioned stimulus and unconditioned stimulus into single. After a single coupling, an individual shows a conditioned response to the conditioned stimulus when the conditioned stimulus is presented alone. Okay, so only the conditional response is occurred for conditioned stimulus. Then when the conditioned stimulus is presented alone, it is presented individually, that is alone. So the conditioned response is mostly similar to the unconditioned response. So both are in a similar manner, but unlike the unconditioned response, it must be acquired through experience and is nearly impermanent. Okay, so the unconditioned responses are how to learn from your life. So they are happened in our life. Then you have to learn about that things. So there is no need to teach anybody, and there is no need of learning something. So they are automatically occurred. Okay, so that is the major difference in between these things. Then classical conditioning. What is the process of classical conditioning? So then first one is unconditioned stimulus. So from unconditional stimulus, first one is neutral stimulus. That means before conditioning. Then after that, no response. Then unconditioned response, conditioned response, neutral stimulus, and a neutral stimulus. Okay. So from during conditioning, then neutral stimulus to unconditioned stimulus, then finally unconditioned response. Then after condition, suppose before conditioning this, so before conditioning, neural stimulus, no response. Okay, so before conditioning, neutral stimulus, there is no response. After during the conditioning period, then neutral stimulus, then that is converted into unconditioned stimulus, then finally unconditioned response. Then after that, after conditioning, then neutral stimulus, then conditioned response. Okay, so this is about the classical conditioning. There are three things. Before conditioning, there are a neutral stimulus, then no response. There is a no, because there is nothing. Neutral stimulus means there is no change in our stimulus process. Then ultimately it leads to no response. And there is a neutral stimulus. Then after that, it will be converted into unconditioned stimulus. Then ultimately we are getting the unconditioned response. Okay. Then after that, after conditioning, there is neutral stimulus after conditioning. Then conditioned response, there is a conditioned response like this. Okay, so this is about three categories of the classical conditioning. Then next one is operant conditioning theory. Okay, so next is operant conditioning theory. So in the operant conditioning theory is also known as instrumental conditioning. Okay, so operational conditioning theory is nothing but also known as instrumental conditioning. Okay, this theory. So this theory is a learning process in which behavior is sensitive to. Okay, so this theory is a learning process in which behavior is sensitive to or controlled by its outcomes. Okay, so this theory is mainly focusing on the learning process in which behavior is sensitive. So those behave, suppose somebody's behavior is very sensitive, some sensitive persons are there, they are very, uh, suppose they don't control on their emotions. So, and also they feel everything. So, and they are easily depressed. Okay. So, are controlled by its outcomes. Okay. So then let's take an example of a child. A child may learn to open a box to get the candy inside, or learn to avoid touching a hot stove. Okay, so then, or if you are taking one example of the child, so suppose the child open the box and also get the candy inside. Suppose some chocolate is inside, then he easily, then after opening the box, then he takes that candy inside. Then or learn to avoid touching a hot stove, but they are not touching the hot stove. Okay, so then because it is a heat, then automatically the child avoid it. So suppose one time he touches, after that he is not touching that one. So because he learns it is a hot one, then we are not touching that one. Suppose if you are giving a box, then I easily open, and also they are taking inside what is there in the inside. So then the child is also learn. Okay, so from natural things. So suppose natural activities, from the natural activities. Then in comparison, the classical conditioning develops a relationship between the stimulus and the behavior. So the classical conditioning is mainly develops the relationship between the stimulus and behavior. The example can be further elaborated as the child may learn to salivate at the sight of candy. Suppose they are seeing the candy, then automatically there is a there is saliva is generated in their mouths. So, or to tremble at the sight of an angry parent. Suppose they are very fair, they are seeing the angry parent. Okay, then these are all from learning their own self. Now there is no need of no need to teach anything. So they automatically know all these things. So from their uh, from their experiences. So in the 20th century, the study of animal learning was commanded by the analysis of these two sorts of learning, and they are still at the core of behavior analysis. So now the studies are, so many studies are conducting on this operant conditioning theory. So then there is two sorts of learning, and they are still at the core of behavior analysis. So now they are also in the developing stage. They are all these two are core of behavioral analysis. So this is operant conditioning. So under this, reinforcement increase behavior, punishment decrease behavior. One is positive stimulus, that is something added, that is positive reinforcement, that means add something to increase behavior. Then positive punishment, add something to decrease behavior. And a negative stimulus, something removed. And a negative reinforcement, remove something to increase behavior. And a negative punishment, remove something to decrease behavior. Okay, so these are all the things you have to consider. So this is operant conditioning. So simple thing, reinforcement increase behavior, punishment decrease behavior, right? Suppose you are encouraging the, motivating the employees, then automatically there is an increase of behavior. Then then after that punishment, there is a punishment, then ultimately it is there is a decrease of behavior. Okay, so then positive stimulus, that is something added, positive reinforcement, that is add something to increase behavior. So you have to increase your behavior, then you have to find out these things. Okay, then positive punishment, that is also same thing. So then add something to decrease behavior. So we are adding something to decrease behavior. Okay, like this. So negative stimulus and a negative reinforcement and negative punishment are there. Okay, so this is operant conditioning. Then next one, social learning theory. Okay, so next theory is social learning theory. So social learning theory is, the key assumptions of social learning theory are as follows. So there are some key assumptions in the social learning theory. So first one is, learning is not exactly behavioral. Okay, so learning is not exactly behavioral. Instead, it is a cognitive process that takes place in a social context. So it is a context, it is a cognitive process, but it is not an exactly behavioral. So instead it is a cognitive process. Okay, that takes place in a social context. So then there is some adjustment are required. Then according to that, so instead, it is a cognitive process. Suppose learning can occur by observing a behavior and try by observing the outcomes of the behavior. Okay, so then learning can occur by observing a behavior. So you have to observing another person's behavior. Then automatically you have to learn something from that from that person's behavior, and by observing the outcomes of the behavior, and also you have to observing the outcomes of the business also. Then next one is learning include observation. Next, extraction of information from those observations and making decisions regarding the performance of the behavior known as observational learning or modeling. Thus, learning can occur beyond an observable change in behavior. Okay, so learning includes observation. So we are learning so many things from observation from our childhood stage. So okay, so thus learning can occur beyond an observable change in behavior. So the learning is mainly useful for, then you have to learn so many things, and also his mindset is also changed. Okay, so suppose you are changing the attitude of the person, ultimately there is a positive response with that also. Then the learning can occur beyond an observable change in behavior. So learning is mainly shows impact on the person, while so learning can occur beyond an observable change in behavior. So we notice that the change in the behavior after learning, we are noticing the change, there is a behavioral change of the person. So that is common thing. Then reinforcement plays an important role in learning, but is not completely responsible for learning. Okay, so reinforcement plays an important role in learning, but is not completely responsible for learning. Okay, so reinforcement is playing an important role, but it is not completely responsible for learning. Okay, so you have to remember this point. So the learner is not a passive receiver of information. Okay, so reinforcement plays an important role in learning, but it is not completely responsible for learning. That is another point. Then the learner is not a positive receiver of information. Understanding, environment, and behavior all mutually influence each other. Suppose the person is not having suppose the learner is not having some passive receiver of information, is not interested to listen anything, and also is not understanding, and also is not, suppose he is not fit for this environment. So then ultimately there is a difference in between the persons. Okay, so these are the points, and then next one you have to see the diagram of this example diagram of social learning. So social learning determines human behavior. So under this there is environmental factors, behavioral factors, and cognitive factors are there. So cognitive factors are also called as personal factors. Under this, knowledge, expectation, attitudes. So under this we have to learn these things. So then first one is cognitive factors. Cognitive factors are knowledge and expectations and attitudes of the persons. These are all called cognitive factors. The next one is environmental factors. So what are the environmental factors? Social norms, access in community, influence on others, and these three things are very, very important. So Environmental factors under the social norms, suppose what are the norms in the society and also access in community. So, and also influence on others. These are all the things you have to consider. So, in the view of environmental factors. And after that, behavioral factors. So, behavioral factors are skills, practice, self-efficacy. Okay. So, under this behavioral factors, skills, first one is the people, those are need this one, then you have to learn something this about this, then there is a need of skills. Okay, suppose without any job, suppose there what you have to learn, then no use for it. Okay, so you have to apply the things and also you have to apply your knowledge and also you have to increase your skills. Okay, so then practice. So practice also another important thing. Already I am discussing about this. So skills one is, and practice means so these skills and practices. So practice also very, very important. Practice makes man perfect. So you have to know all these things. Suppose all of you know this one. So then after that, self-efficacy. So self-efficacy means you are not relying, suppose you are not depending upon anybody. So we have to follow. So these are the things are cognitive factors and environmental factors and behavioral factors. These are all determines human behavior. Okay. Then next one is cognitive learning theory. So cognitive learning theory means cognition defines a person's ideas, thoughts, knowledge, interpretation, and so this cognition defines a person's ideas and thoughts and knowledge, interpretation, and understanding about himself and environment. So then next one is this theory considers learning as the outcome of deliberate thinking on a problem or situation based upon known facts and responding in an objective and more oriented manner. Okay, so this theory considers learning as the outcome of deliberate thinking on a deliberate thinking on a problem or situation based upon known facts. Okay, so suppose they are knowing something, then ultimately there is a problem. Suppose the mindset is changed. So known facts and responding in an objective and more oriented manner. Okay, so this is very helpful theory. So this is a very important theory. So then it perceives that a person learns the meaning of various objects and events and also learns the response depending upon the meaning assigned to the stimuli. Okay, so after that it perceives that a person learns the meaning of various objects. So the person is know the meaning of various objects and also events and also learns the response depending upon the meaning assigned to the stimuli. Suppose after stimuli have to assign the meaning. Okay, so for each and every stimuli you have to assign the meaning. So after that only you have to done anything. So otherwise you are not done, you are not able to done anything. Okay, so that is very, very important thing. So it perceives that a person learns the meaning of various objects and events and also learns the response depending event. So then next one is this theory debates that the learner forms a cognitive structure in memory which stores organized information about the various events that occurs. Okay, so this theory debates that the learner forms a cognitive structure. Suppose the learner is formed some cognitive structure in memory, so which stores organized information about the various events that occurs. Suppose all of you are having some cognitive structure in our memory, then ultimately we have to store the organized information and also various events that occurs. Okay, so that is the thing. Then learning and organizational behavior. Okay, So an individual's behavior in an organization is directly or indirectly affected by learning. Suppose the behavior of the person is affected by the learning. Okay, so either directly or indirectly. So ultimately, the individual's behavior in an organization is directly or indirectly affected by learning. So from the learning process, also suppose at the stage of learning, then you have to know about all these things, and also the behavior is different, and in an organization is directly or indirectly affected by learning. So for this learning process, organization is sometimes it is affected, or sometimes it is not affected. Okay, then what are the examples for this? Is example is employee skills, manager's attitude are all needed. So ఇవన్నీ కూడా so employee skills and manager attitudes are all learned. Suppose the employee is learning skills and also manager's attitudes are all learned. So then behavior can be improved by following the listed tips. So then reducing absenteeism by rewarding employees for their fair attendance. Suppose those who are maintaining 100% attendance, the management will give some benefit to that person. So then while you are maintaining the regular attendance, then automatically, suppose you are not encouraging the absenteeism, so then ultimately it leads to good attendance, and also we are rewarding that employees, those are maintaining the high attendance rate. So then you have to give some benefits to that persons also. Then automatically the parents are also changed their mindset. Okay, then improving employee discipline by dealing with employees undesirable behavior, drinking at workplace, stealing stealing coming late, etc., by taking appropriate actions like oral reprimands, written warnings, and suspension. Suppose the employee is improving the discipline, then there is no problem at all. While he is not controlling himself, then automatically, so then automatically it leads to some problem. So then improving employee discipline by dealing with employees undesirable behavior. So we are regularly monitoring the behavior of the employee, and also we are trying to improve the employee. So and also there is undesirable behavior. So employees undesirable behavior and drinking at workplace. Suppose he is drinks at workplace, he is taking alcohol at workplace, and stealing. So and after that coming late. So these are all the problems related to this one. So then after that they are giving some okay. So then drinking at workplace and stealing and coming late, etc., by taking appropriate actions like oral reprimands. Suppose he is giving some oral warnings, so then after that written warnings, and after that finally we are going to some suspension. So because he is not changing his attitude, and also he is not responding the letters, then there is no need to continue that person, just you have to remove that person. So then developing training programs more often so as to grab the trainees' attention, provide okay. So developing and training programs are often also as to grab the trainees' attention. So this is useful for training programs are useful for so some attention, and also okay. So developing training programs more often as to grab the trainees. So attention, provide required motivational properties, etc. So we are teaching the required skills, and also you have to pay attention on that person. Then we have to complete the task. Okay. So these are all persons are related to some motivational speakers. Then they are trying to give some points in the life. Okay. So then provide required motivational properties and also grab the trainees and also attention and provide required motivation, but after that it provides them motivational properties also. Okay, so what they are needed, then ultimately they are all completely provided. Okay, so then learning organization, that is different concept. So today I completing the theories of learning. So then all of you once again, so there is the theories of learning. So first one is classical conditioning theory and second one is operant conditioning theory. So this is operant conditioning theory. So this is also very important one. So then operant conditioning theory is also known as instrumental conditioning and also. This theory is a learning process in which behavior is sensitive or controlled by its outcomes. Then operant conditioning. Then okay. So these are the things are very, very important. So all of you know this. And social learning theory is also very, very important. So the key assumptions of social learning theory are as follows. Learning is not exactly behavioral. Okay. So learning is not exactly behavioral. Okay. So cognitive learning theory, cognition defines a person's ideas, thoughts, knowledge, interpretation, understanding about himself and environment. Okay. That's it. So today I stopped over here.